welcome to another episode of Entrepreneurs on Fuego. We're documenting the journey of incredible entrepreneurs and folks who are literally saving lives and changing the world.
Yeah.
Dr. John Denboer.
Hey, buddy. How you doing? Good to see you again.
I'm doing phenomenal.
Yeah.
Smart.
You always are.
Well, yeah. I'm doing, I tell you what, I'm doing much better because I'm beginning to understand much better what the disease of dementia and Alzheimer's disease is all about.
Yeah.
And the more I understand it, the more empathetic I am with my own mother.
Yeah.
She is 86 years old, and she's getting into perhaps that stage 2, which, of course, please explain to us exactly what a smart brain aging is and your involvement in your research and all the beautiful things that you do, Doug.
Yeah, so real quick, let me just explain dementia and the stages of dementia, because you brought that up. I think that was a good point. So when we have dementia, which is essentially the accelerated aging of the brain, what happens is that the brain is aging faster than the body is. And so what we need to do is try to slow that aging process of the brain down so it corresponds to our physical age, our chronological age.
The brain cells continue to die.
They do, they're dying. Yeah, and there's
neurodegenerative, and it continues dying. Bam, bam, bam.
That's awesome, man. Very good. Neurodegenerative. Very good. That's good. That's good. Let's switch places.
I got to get back a little bit to your level, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
No. You're already superseding it. So the brain is shrinking at an accelerated rate.
Right.
And when the brain shrinks at an accelerated rate, yes, those nerve cells die, and it's because of a lack of a chemical in the brain. That lack of a chemical in the brain is called glutamate. What that does is it signals to the cells to, if you have enough glutamate, it signals to the cells to remain robust, to not die. And so 7 stages of dementia. If you're at the beginning stages, you're at 1 or 2. If you're at the middle or end stages, obviously 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 is essentially death. And so we can help people. People can be helped in stages 1 and 2. But I want to focus today on the stage that comes before 1. Because that's the stage that's the most important. So if you think about people having before they have high blood pressure, they have something called prehypertension. It's what you get before you get high blood pressure. If you don't do anything about it, it will turn into high blood pressure.
Right.
There's a state of dementia that's like that. It's called mild cognitive impairment. What it means is there's problems, not enough to say dementia, but there's problems that we can identify. And so what we do is we take people in mild cognitive impairment, or stage 1, and what happens is that we can do brain exercises to help release that chemical called glutamate. That prevents the brain from shrinking, and what it does is it helps extend and prevent dementia.
All right, so let's go a little bit. Let me understand. So you go before that first stage.
Yeah.
What determines that? Because a lot of us, we get to as we age, I forget where I put my keys. I forget, provided that I didn't drink the night before, I forget where I put my wallet and everything.
Right.
So, but you don't categorize that as, or you don't define that as the pre-stage 1 dementia. How would you define exactly or identify that individual?
Two important points. One, many people, 99% of people will not know they're in mild cognitive impairment states. And the people that are closest to them probably won't know either. They attribute it to normal aging, or they attribute it to stress, or they attribute it to different kinds of things. And it can be those things, but it also could be mild cognitive impairment. So what you need to do is probably go into a specialist like a neuropsychologist or a geriatric neurologist to really get tested to see, are you at that mild cognitive impairment states? And here's the scary part, is that even though I'm a specialist in this area, I'm only probably good 60% of the time in making that diagnosis if it's very subtle. Wow. So the reality is that 6 to 8 years prior to you developing dementia, it's developing in your brain, and only subtle signs are showing in your personality or in your behavior, etc. Many people will be working and they'll be doing just fine at work. They won't show any demonstrable symptomology. So the key is that as that's developing, regardless of whether you have it or not, or regardless of diagnosis or not, people should be engaging in brain wellness activities.
After a certain age, is there a specific age where people should do this just as a matter of, just like a regular checkup?
55. As you get older, you should be doing it more. So your rate increases exponentially the older that you get. So we start people in their 50s, 55, 60, 65. When you get into your 70s, assuredly you should probably 35% of people 70 or older have mild cognitive impairment. When you get into 75 or 80, that rate increases to 50%, then it increases to 65% when we get into our 80s. And over 70% of people over the age of 85 have some form of early stage dementia. Over 90% of people over the age of 90.
Interesting. Here in the United States, over 5 million people are affected by the disease.
Yeah.
Worldwide is over 35 million, and will double up in about 20 years or so. So,
but imagine the number that you just said. It's actually double that number right now because the number is incredibly underrepresented.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So what we try to do is just say, if we're not out there telling people that exist in society that you are going to get a heart attack or not. We don't really know. We know that you might be at genetic risk. We might know that you might have some dietary factors. You might have hypertension. Regardless of all those things, we tell people that they should be exercising, regardless of the diagnosis.
And so you come up with this incredible set of exercises for the brain called Smart Brain Aging. Tell us more about that. So it's not a cure-all, but it's a treatment to prevent.
Yeah, it's a treatment to help prevent.
Yeah.
So it doesn't cure, it doesn't reverse, it doesn't make better. There's nothing that we have that will help do that. What it does is it mitigates, it helps prevent in the right context of dietary restrictions, and it can mitigate between 35 and 60%. So what it does essentially is delay independence in terms of cognitive independence for as long as possible.
We've heard a lot of people that are going to be watching this are going to go, well, that sounds a lot like those brain exercises that are out there.
Yep.
There's another company, Lumosity, I think it was, that does all this. But that's not it, right?
Yeah, so Lumosity has been sued by the FTC for false advertising. They have zero research. We have a Medicare reimbursable products. We had to get through Medicare. We had to get it Medicare approved. We have 6 published research studies in this area. We consider ourselves at the forefront of research. We have clinics. We have doctors that use it. So 2 products. We have clinics you can go to here in Phoenix, and then we have an online product. It's just www.brainyou.online, and people can utilize the right kind of brain games to release glutamate.
The cool thing about what you do, though, is that the brain needs to learn different things, right? It's like when we go to the gym and we're we're doing the same exercises, working the same muscles with the same weight and the same routine. We hit a plateau. It's not going to change. So what you have, it forces the brain to learn something new.
Yeah, that's the key. Is that if you're doing new and novel exercise, the brain can't adapt to it. It actually tricks the brain, and it tricks it in such a way that it forces it to constantly release organically this glutamate, which is at a real decrease as we age. So we have to sort of fight against it. Regardless of whether we have genetic history, this is just brain wellness. So it's not saying you have dementia or you're going to get it. It's saying do the right kind of brain exercise the same way that you would do the right kind of physical exercise. Mm-hmm. Most people do the right kind of physical exercise, or no, they should. Most people don't do the right kind of brain exercise.
Is it... Do you think that, and we're talking about, all right, so over 5 million people that are identified in the United States with AD, and you said it's probably doubled that.
Yep.
Is it because you think that, is it stigmatized?
Incredibly. Yeah, I think that's the first.
We don't want to be known as, I'm getting Alzheimer's.
Yeah, I mean, something about getting dementia signals to us that we are less of a person, that we're not as smart. This has nothing to do with how smart we are or how intelligent we are. We wouldn't say somebody that has heart disease is less intelligent. It's a disease, just like any other disease. So just like mental health issues have been stigmatized, dementia is highly stigmatized at present. But there's a lot more conversations being had about it. So the biggest thing is just having an open conversation to say, hey, we're into our 60s. We do the right kind of physical exercise. We eat right. Let's do the right kind of mental exercise. We happen to have one program that's very research-based, but it's really a lifestyle change more than it is a product or any sort of business. Good to see you, buddy.
You're my hero, Doc.
I know. We're doing it.
It's incredible. You know, any time that we meet or we interview somebody that is literally changing lives, to me is very humbling.
Well, we're all part of a community,
and
these discussions have to be had by the community. So if one person can have a discussion, then we've done our job.
The website again?
It's smartbrainaging.com. Okay. To get the online product, it's brainyouonline.com. Brainyou Online.
I'm definitely going there, man. I lost my keys the other day. I'm 56, man, and
yeah.
I gotta get. And I don't even drink, but I lost my tooth the other day. So I got to do something about it.
That can happen to the best of us. I think you're good. I think you're going to be okay, but this is a way of assuring you're going to be okay.
There you go.
Right?
With that, we're out.